Welcome back to Muslim Minds. I am Hamza. This is Rohaib.
We are here today to ask you to help us reach 1,000 subscribers so we can produce more content for you guys.
Reinvest back into the channel and do more in real life content. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to this channel to help us grow.
Today we're going to react to an interesting video, Hinduism versus Islam.
We get a lot of Hindu viewers. Now we're going to see which religion is true. I'm just joking.
Let's go. Let's see.
Hey there. Thanks for tuning in. You folks seem to really appreciate that Judaism versus Christianity versus Islam video we did a while back, so I thought, why not explore a bit more? Today we're going to dive into Hinduism versus Islam. This isn't about stirring up debates, it's just an honest comparison using clear and concise infographics to highlight key aspects and differences between the two. As always, I'm just providing the info. What you take away from it is up to you, so if you're curious about these two unique faiths, stick around, let's dive into it. Hinduism, tracing its roots back to around 3000 BC, represents a broad spectrum of beliefs and practices evolved over millennia, while Islam, founded in 610 AD, presents a more uniform set of beliefs and practices informed by the Quran and the life of the Prophet Muhammad. The time difference...
On this note, actually, about the foundation of the faith, so like he just said, the foundation of Hinduism is... kind of an amalgamation of spiritual practices over time. Islam is similar to this as well. Like, Islam is not just like the religion of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Muslims have a belief that Islam is a religion of God since the beginning of mankind, beginning with Adam, actually.
Yeah, Islam is just really true monotheistic religion, which we believe like the original person that started it was Abraham, or Ibrahim alayhi salam, which is why we believe he's like the father of Islam. So it goes back probably more than 3,000 years, 4,000 probably.
Well, like he's a major component of the figures in Islam, but Islam itself, like you could look at it like updates, right? And Islam is the newest testament. It's the final testament revealed. So Islam actually is a religion that believes in its beliefs from the beginning of mankind.
Of theological and philosophical complexity found in Hinduism as compared to the comparatively recent but more streamlined structure of Islam. Hinduism's Trimurti, consisting of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, corresponds to cosmic functions of creation, preservation, and destruction. On the other hand, Islam practices strict monotheism, with all these functions combined in Allah, demonstrating a clear contrast in the conceptualization of divine power. In Hinduism, Manu and Shatarupa are the first humans created and guided by Brahma. The Islamic tradition parallels this narrative with Adam and Hawa, created and guided by Allah. Both narratives set forth foundational ideas about human responsibility, divine interaction, and morality in their respect.
You know, I've never heard actually that Hinduism have like first humans.
Yeah, like if you guys know this, if you guys want to share the story down below, share it, because I've never heard of Manu and Shatarupa ever.
Traditions.
But yeah, it's also nice how he blurred the face of Adam and Hawa with like a white face. It's like respectful.
Because Muslims, we don't like depicting holy figures.
God or any prophet.
This form the oldest and most revered text in Hinduism, presenting a vast array of hymns, rituals, and philosophical discourses. In contrast, the Quran, revered by Muslims as the Word of God, provides a singular, comprehensive guide for all aspects of life, social, political, and spiritual. The mandir in Hinduism serves not only as a place of worship, but also a community center where various cultural and social activities take place. Similarly, the mosque in Islam functions as both a place of worship and a community center, reflecting shared communal values despite their architectural and ritualistic differences.
And I think that goes for most religions. Whenever their temples of worship, they function in the same way or similarly.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a place of worship and the respectful place that people go to, you know, to connect to their God or their beliefs.
And even like a community gathering for the believers of that faith.
Pujari in Hinduism and the Imam in Islam both serve as religious leaders. They guide their
community. If anyone wants to comment down below, what's the symbolism behind the stripes? I would be interested to know what that is.
Oh, the Pujari. Never heard that word in my life, actually. It's kind of weird. Like, there's so many stuff about Hinduism I don't know.
Yeah, it's very vast, so most people don't
communities know. Through rituals, prayers, and interpretations of scriptures. Their roles underline the universal need for spiritual guidance across diverse religious traditions. Puja in Hinduism typically involves offerings to deities and can vary greatly in complexity, reflecting the myriad of local traditions. Salat in Islam is a fixed set of physical postures and Quranic recitations done at specific times each day, showcasing a rigid structure aimed at regular connection with the divine. Namaste in Hindu tradition is a respectful greeting which translates to, "I bow to the divine in you." In contrast, Assalamu alaikum in Islamic tradition translates to, "Peace be upon you." Both greetings.
So Namaste sounds like kind of like a recognition that God is within all avenues of life, including other humans.
Yeah. I mean, both are pretty similar in their own ways. It's like peace be upon you. They're saying, well, it's a little bit different, but it has like the same spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greetings reflect their respective traditions' emphasis on respect and peace in interpersonal relations. Hinduism has approximately 1.2 billion followers, predominantly in India and Nepal, reflecting a strong cultural and regional concentration. Islam, with about 2 billion followers, is more globally dispersed, indicating its wide-scale acceptance and adaptability across different cultures and regions.
Yeah, Islam is not bound by a culture. It has a framework that is very applicable to every society, which is why Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, second largest overall populated religion, with the largest denomination of any religion in the world. That's why it's so kind of, I guess you could say, applicable to other societies.
Yeah, and also this might be something that like turns people off from religion, but it's actually a good thing that's so uniform. Because what even is Hinduism? There's not really a clear set things. There's so many different
concepts,
various different forms of the faith you can go towards.
Yeah.
So that's why even in the in our previous comments, people are saying, Hinduism is what you want. You just have to understand it in your way. But that for Muslims that doesn't make sense. Like we have Allah that told us a specific way to do things, so we want to do it that way. It's not just for our own discretion.
And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think the Hindus who are commenting that aren't being very forthcoming with their own beliefs, because they have certain beliefs that they believe their karma has an effect on how they become reincarnated. You can be pretty well off if you have good karma or dharma, and if you're not an upright person, you can be reincarnated into something not so good. There's also realms of hell in Hinduism, and even like stipulations on how you can act in this society, right? You have to live in a certain code of laws, even in Hinduism. Like, for example, you're not supposed to eat beef, right? And most, I would say, beliefs of Hinduism. Islam is the same way. We have our rules and regulations set forth by God, belief in one God. There's reward if you're a righteous person and punishment if you're an evildoer. So I would say it's not as, I guess you could say, free-spirited as they try to claim it is.
So they're trying to trick us. Just kidding.
The largest concentration of Hindus is in India, whereas Indonesia is home to the largest Muslim population. These geographical concentrations highlight how specific historical, political, and cultural contexts have shaped the development and practices of these religions. Varanasi in India, considered the spiritual capital of Hinduism, hosts rituals like the Ganga Arti and cremations, which hold significant spiritual meaning. Similarly, Mecca in Saudi Arabia, the holiest city in Islam, hosts the annual pilgrimage, the Hajj. Both cities embody the deep historical, spiritual, and emotional ties of their respective followers.
And if you guys want to see us visit a Hindu temple, make sure to subscribe, because it is something we're looking into.
Let's set them a goal. What amount do they need to hit? 3K?
Try to hit 100 likes on this video, and also subscribe if you're not subscribed.
Diwali, celebrated by Hindus as a festival of lights symbolizing the victory of light over darkness, contrasts with Eid al-Adha in Islam, which commemorates the Prophet Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son in obedience to God's command. Despite these different underlying themes, both festivals bring joy, unity, and reinforce shared values among their respective communities through acts of charity, communal prayers, feasts, and family gatherings. In Hindu belief, Svarga is a temporary heaven-like realm attained by righteous souls before reincarnation. Islam's Jannah, however, is a permanent paradise granted to the right.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't know that Svarga is...
So it's just temporary.
I thought you could escape the cycle of reincarnation, though.
I think you can. Maybe that's like it's a temporary thing. It's like
maybe
temporary.
So this one is temporary, but there's an then
there's eternal. You want eternal with
Brahma,
right?
Yeah.
But
or Brahma.
What is the point of Brahma?
I think it's
okay.
Brahma,
I don't know.
One of the two.
So then, no one remembers Svarga if they went through it. It's temporary, so you get reborn, but you don't even remember it.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
And Jannah is just heaven.
Jannah is eternal heaven. So one's temporary and one's eternal.
Righteous in the afterlife. While both concepts encourage ethical living, they represent different views on the soul's ultimate destiny. Naraka, according to Hinduism, is a realm.
I was talking about. There's a hell in Hinduism and hell in Islam. So to claim that.
So what
Islam,
about hell?
Huh?
If you just get reincarnated, you just keep doing bad stuff till you go into Naraka. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, and then on that point, like, there are definitely
because you just get
there are guidelines in Hinduism. If you fall out of these guidelines, and how do you end up in Naraka, right? So
realm ablaze with red fire, where souls undergo suffering and purification for their sins and are ultimately destined for rebirth. Conversely, Jahannam in Islam is a dark realm engulfed in black-colored fire, serving as a place of eternal punishment for the wicked. Hinduism describes Rakshasas as powerful demonic beings disrupting cosmic order, somewhat akin to the Islamic concept of shaitan, who are devils leading humans astray. Both symbolize forces of chaos and evil. Ravana, a demon king in Hindu epics, embodies the force of ego and desire, while Iblis in Islam represents defiance and pride. Both characters serve as cautionary figures against straying from righteousness.
Iblis and Shaitan are the same being.
In Hindu mythology, spirits of the dead, and jinn in Islamic belief, supernatural creatures created from smokeless fire, represent entities from unseen worlds, showing shared recognition of a reality beyond human perception.
So in Islam, Shaitan, the devil, is a jinn. Just to clarify, it was weird that he made them all different colors. Like Shaitan was black, jinn were blue.
Yeah.
I guess I have different races. There's no racism in Nerd Robot. It's very nice of him.
In Hinduism, celestial beings known as devas who serve the divine order are often compared to malaika or angels in Islam, both being intermediaries between God and humans. They symbolize the constant cosmic order in both religions, highlighting the belief in a structured universe overseen by divine powers.
Well, the angels are not overseeing the divine structure of the universe. This is what Allah has put in place for God. The angels are there for their purpose of like recording deeds and their specific thing that Allah created them, but they are not in charge of the divine anything in the universe.
Or Allah gives some angels some function, but it's only through His power and will.
Yeah, everything's only through Allah in Islam. The angels are not they're not in charge of that.
Celestial maidens,
celestial nymphs.
Vidyadhari, the celestial nymphs of Hinduism, also known.
Okay, so then another thing, I see a lot of Hindus.
You just want to look at the screen. That's why you pause.
No, a lot of Hindus are mocking us, saying you have Houri, and they say Houri, like they're mocking us. You have Vidyadhari. Bro, please, like, think before you speak.
Let's see what this is about.
As apsaras are depicted as ethereal beings associated with beauty and nature, often involved in interactions with humans. Their counterparts in Islam, the Houri, are beautiful beings promised to the righteous in the afterlife. These beings symbolize reward and virtue, reflecting each religion's emphasis on righteousness and piety.
So they believe that for them, it's going to be in life right now on Earth, and they'll interact with you as humans. That's what you said.
Yeah, I guess.
So what is your guys' belief in that? Because for our belief, it's after we prove ourselves and we're judged by Allah, then we go to Jannah. So it's just like a reward for being in Jannah. So
the legendary creature Garuda in Hinduism is a bird-like deity, often serving as a mount to Lord Vishnu and symbolizing power and nobility. In contrast, BURAQ from Islamic tradition is a miraculous steed that transported the Prophet Muhammad during his night journey, symbolizing.
So you guys get mad at the night journey, but this Garuda is the same thing for your god Vishnu. So why
again
it doesn't really make sense.
And again, we're speaking to more so kind of like the negative commentary, because most of the people who watch our Hindu videos are very respectful, but some of them just think without or speak without thinking.
Yeah, the comments are usually negative. We see, well, compared to like when we do other religions, Hinduism seems to have a lot of negative comments for some reason.
It's because the cultural makeup of Pakistan and India.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the stigma comes from. So they just want to attack anytime they see that religion there. But for example, like the BURAQ, right? They say, oh, it's a dumb concept. How could a creature like that exist? Well, we believe God created the entire universe, the heavens and the earth, literally everything. I don't think it'd be very challenging for him to make something like this. He can make whatever he wants, so I don't see how that's really like impossible.
Yeah, and with the story of the night journey, there's like authentic proofs that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ saw caravans and stuff and reported about it. And
he reported it on how Jerusalem looked. People had confirmed who have been to Jerusalem.
Yeah, and people that are on a journey to Mecca, and then it was confirmed when they got there, which is impossible to know in that day and age. So it's not just some random thing. It's been like confirmed. The people back in those days that hated Islam the most and wanted to kill the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, they couldn't argue with that. But yeah, what is the Garuda, and like why do you guys like, it's not fair to attack this when you have the same thing.
I will just say for the record, to say like a religion is some fairy tale nonsense doesn't make sense for the explanation why it becomes so globally accepted, like Christianity and Islam, because we believe it all comes from the truth. That's why it comes
from a single source.
That's why the success is it's unstoppable.
Divine intervention and spiritual ascension. Both these beings highlight the recurring theme of divine assistance and spiritual journeying in both religions. King Ashoka, remembered for his rule of righteousness in Hindu history, mirrors the esteem for Sultan Mehmed II in Islamic history, known for his strategic conquest of Constantinople. Both rulers left lasting impacts on their civilizations, embodying the ideal of just and powerful leadership in both cultures. Baji Rao I, recognized as a remarkable military leader in Hindu history, and Khalid bin al-Walid, revered as a military genius in Islamic history, both showcase the heroic ideals of their respective traditions. Their exploits serve as historical touchstones for the martial virtues of bravery and strategic intelligence in both religions.
Now, I don't know much about Baji Rao, but for Khalid ibn al-Walid, he is like objectively seen as one of the greatest generals objectively for any historian or military leader. And he was also, before, he was not a Muslim, and he defeated the Muslims in the battle of
He used
Uhud.
to be an enemy of Islam.
Yeah, so he was also a general that fought Islam, and then he joined Islam. So it's a cool fact to know.
Aryabhata, a renowned Hindu mathematician and astronomer, made significant scientific contributions, including approximation.
Another point on Khalid ibn Walid I wanted to mention is that I think it was during the Caliphate of Umar that he removed Khalid ibn Walid from the battlefield because he wanted the Muslims to believe that success comes from Allah and not Khalid ibn Walid.
Because he was that good.
Yeah,
he was known as Saifullah, the sword of Allah.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't be stopped.
Of pi. In contrast, Al-Khwarizmi, a Persian scholar in the Islamic world, is known as the father of algebra, showcasing major contributions to the field of mathematics from both cultures. The mango, used in Hindu rituals and symbolism as a sign.
I love mango.
You know, as a Muslim, I still like mango as well, you know. But I think dates are better.
I don't know, man. Mangoes. Dang.
I like dates better.
Ajwa dates are the best.
Ajwa dates, yeah. Those are the prophetic dates.
Sign of prosperity and love, contrasts with dates in Islamic tradition, a fruit of great significance, particularly during Ramadan, marking the breaking of fast. Many Hindus abstain from eating beef out of reverence for cows, while Muslims avoid pork due to dietary laws, reflecting how religious beliefs shape dietary practices in each culture. Ganga Jal, water from the holy river Ganges in Hinduism, is considered sacred and purifying. This parallels the Islamic belief in Zamzam water from a well in Mecca, thought to be a gift from God with healing properties. Both serve as
for those who are not aware, the Ganges River currently is heavily polluted. We've actually spoken to some of our Hindu viewers about this, like why it's happened or what efforts are being taken to clean up the river. But it's pretty insane. It's just really polluted, and but it being a flowing river, and they say that the water itself has
self-cleaning
properties. So, but even so, it's just overwhelmingly polluted, which is why they want to clean it up, right?
And for Zamzam, it's a spring that happened. Ibrahim's wife Hajar was running back and forth. I'm not gonna tell the whole story now, but then Allah provided them a well, the spring of Zamzam, so then they can nourish them. And now it's still there in Mecca right now. We have Zamzam water in our house. So it's a miracle that's still going on. Right. It's like inexplainable where it came from.
Thousands of years, it's still going.
Potent symbols of purification and divine blessings in their respective traditions.
That's actually how the city of Mecca started as well, because
before there was no water there. So now, because you have water, civilization.
Arabian societies would build their civilizations around where they could be sustained, especially through water resources. So that's literally the origin of Mecca. It's with Hajar alayhi salam.
The ultimate goal in Hinduism is moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death, signifying a liberation from physical existence and merging with the divine. In contrast, BURAQ in Islam refers to divine blessings or the presence of God in one's life, representing a continuous...
I would say a more accurate word to use is taqwa, which is God consciousness.
Yeah, because that makes you fear God and also do good things.
That brings barakah in your life.
What you do, that brings
barakah is the...
It's like the goodness the blessing that Allah puts in your life because you have taqwa.
Yeah.
It's not wrong. I mean, it's still good. He knows this stuff. Yeah. Like, it's very good lessons.
Divine grace and guidance in worldly life. Dharma in Hinduism refers to the moral, societal, and cosmic laws that guide human behavior toward living righteously and achieving spiritual liberation. In contrast, Sharia in Islam is the legal and moral code that guides a Muslim's behavior in all aspects of life. Although both deal with moral and ethical living, Dharma has a broader cosmic perspective, whereas Sharia provides detailed guidance on daily living.
Both do that, but also Sharia, it's not just like a code of laws. It changes over time. There's no specific like book of Sharia. It's something that changes over time based on society and different situations and stuff like that. So yeah, it seems like Dharma and Sharia are pretty similar in what they serve to do.
Yeah.
So don't come at Sharia.
Yoga in Hinduism, which seeks spiritual insight and tranquility through physical postures and meditation, is akin to dhikr in Islam, a devotional act involving repeated recitation of God's names. Both practices offer a path to spiritual concentration and connection with the divine, reflecting a shared emphasis on personal spiritual discipline.
I would say if you want to compare it, yoga and salah are more comparable because salah you do certain positions and stuff. And dhikr can be even in your head as you're walking. Dhikr is just remembering Allah. But salah is the act of doing it, and you prostrate, you bow and stuff like that. So I know yoga is like you stretch. Yoga doesn't even have to be religious. You can like go to yoga class at the gym. But yoga and salah, the obligatory prayer, is more in line with each other because dhikr is just remembering Allah. It could be in your head. It could be doing anything. You can do dhikr at any time. I can do it right now. I am doing it right now. I'm doing dhikr right now.
Akamana in Hinduism is a ritual cleansing process involving sipping water with mantras, symbolizing spiritual and physical purity. This parallels wudu in Islam.
I will say this for the Hindu viewers. I would say I don't think it's very far-fetched to believe, considering how old Hinduism is. Why'd I put a ha in there? How old Hinduism is, that, it's possible that a prophet, that because we believe prophets went to all the nations, right? That Hinduism began with the proper messenger, preaching things similar to Islam, one God, prayer, all that. But maybe over time changes. But it just has happened to several different world beliefs. Yeah, it's not really far-fetched to believe that.
So Hinduism is not a monotheistic religion, but all these things, all these concepts in this video, it's not really, it's like a comparison, but they're similar more than different. Obviously, they're not going over the big stuff, but all these things are similar. And a lot of the hate comments that we get from Hindu people, they have the same thing in Hinduism.
It can be redirected back.
Yeah. So,
A purification ritual involving washing specific parts of the body before prayer. Both rituals emphasizing the importance of purity in worship. Dana, the act of giving in Hinduism, reflects the principle of generosity and selflessness. Similarly, zakat in Islam, a form of obligatory charity, embodies the principles of social responsibility and aid to the less fortunate, reflecting shared values of compassion and community support. Hindu tradition favors cremation, a ritual seen as a key part of the journey of the soul, reflecting a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. On the other hand, Islamic practices advocate for burial, aligning with the faith's emphasis on dignity and respect for the deceased. These rites showcase how each religion distinctively honors and remembers the departed.
So yeah, for I guess Hinduism, you do that, what's it called when they burn it? Cremation, because you're going to be rebirthed. But for Muslims, you die, then you're in the grave, and then you will be resurrected on the Day of Judgment. So we make sure to bury the people. But also cremation, you're being cremated, but your matter is still existing in the world. So it's not like you go away.
Yeah, but I think what is reincarnated is maybe your soul. And the burning of your bodies to kind of like say goodbye to that.
But the body and the soul wouldn't.
I know that there are also some old. I don't know if this is how common this is, or if it's like a branch of Hinduism.
This picture.
Yeah, but I know that there are some Hindu practices where if a husband dies before the wife, he would be cremated, and then she would also be cremated if she was alive.
Doesn't sound fair to me.
It's just something I remembered right now.
Yeah.
In Hinduism, believes in reincarnation, the soul's journey through successive lives, in contrast with Islam's belief in resurrection, where each individual will be brought back to life for the final judgment. This concludes our comparison of Hinduism and Islam. It's our sincere hope that this video can serve as an enlightening bridge, enabling followers of both faiths to deepen their mutual understanding and thereby fostering an environment of greater respect and harmony. As we navigate the complexities of our world today, the call for more peace and less animosity is more crucial than ever. Thank you for joining us in this exploration, and don't forget to stay tuned for more insightful content in the future.
I would like to make a comment as well. A lot of comments I have seen in our past Hindu videos try to portray Islam as unscientific. I mean, I can't even tell you how many comments I read where people said the earth is flat. Just do a quick Google search. Quran, earth-shaped egg. Just type in those words, and you'll find a verse where Allah describes the shape of the earth as an egg. The Arabic word used for that word, when you translate it literally to English, actually means like Arabian, like ostrich egg, which is an extinct animal, but it was known that its shape was called like an oblique spheroid. I forget the exact name, but it's
basically the shape of the earth.
It's basically the same shape of the earth, right? And Allah is using that exact word to describe the shape of the earth. To us, that is actually something pretty profound, because you have God using a word that science would agree with, right? Not only that, you have the Quran talking about living beings made out of water. You have Allah talking about how the heavens and the earth were in one point and he clove them asunder, which is pretty aligned to what the Big Bang running theory is now, that everything was at one point in a singularity, a mass. There's verses in the Quran talking about how the sun, the moon, and the earth are all in their own orbit. We did not know that the sun, we've discovered that the earth and the moon have their orbit, but the sun also orbiting, that's something that's relatively new, right? How would someone 1,400 years ago living in a desert who can't read or write even know any of these things? Well, I'll give you the answer. He doesn't know, and he's correct. Also, you have verses in the Quran talking about bees, and like their work and producing honey, and all the times
embryology, all these things.
Embryology. So to say Islam is unscientific, when especially Muslims have contributed heavily to the scientific development of the world in many different respective fields, algebra, math, science, cosmology, all these kind of things, right?
Literally everything. So it's just, again, I would just think and do just a little bit of research. Yeah, and just like this video said, it's about the similarities. We don't have animosity towards you guys, but it seems like sometimes you guys have animosity towards us. Yeah, which is not very nice, and it makes me sad. So don't make me cry.
If it was so like dumb and like archaic and Stonehenge, or what is it? Stone Age caveman thinking, then this wouldn't be a popular religion all over the world.
Yeah, 1.2.
Think about it. There's a reason people believe in this. It's not. Use your head, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. So if you guys want us to visit a Hindu temple,
3,000 subscribers,
try to get this video to 100 likes, and also let's try to get 1,000 subscribers, so then we can do stuff like that. But yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon you all.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.